Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our fireside chat titled Child Protection in Cyberspace Trends, Challenges, and Opportunities for Progress. Our moderator is Rima Maktabi, Bureau Chief, Al Arabiya News Network. Our speaker is Dr. Najat Maalla, Special Representative of the UN Secretary General on Violence Against Children. Rima, over to you.
Thank you, and hello, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Najat.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure having you, and I had so much fun preparing for this panel, and a lot of questions. The children's world is the new generation. It's the future. And a lot of questions are around, parents are asking, governments, educational institutions. A lot is being circulated around this. First of all, I'd like to start with the risks that the children are facing in the cyberspace, and not only, including, but not only the sexual abuse, the cyberbullying, but what other new risks we're talking about?
Yes, indeed, as you highlighted, we have currently a generation who born with internet. And yes, internet gives opportunities for learning, socialization, but many risks. And as you highlighted, yes, we spoke a lot about child sexual abuse and exploitation online. Cyberbullying is becoming a big concern for children and worldwide, but we have many other forms that are not very well documented, such as, hate speech, such as misinformation, such as exposure to harmful content, to harmful sexual also violence. The other thing is trafficking, enrollment in criminal groups. You have also the promotion of suicide and self-harm. And you have, in addition to that, all the violation of children's rights and privacy, theft of identity, and so on. So the list is long, and we need, when we are speaking about violence online, we need to have this big picture in mind.
We know how violence against children in the physical world is. Do you think we know everything about the cyberspace and the harms around children in the cyberspace?
No. As I told you, regarding, even violence offline, we have not all the real magnitude. And because the big problem of violence against children, you have a big issue is regarding the reporting. Many children are not reporting when they are facing harms, and mainly also online. According to Disrupting Harm, just one study done in 30 countries, we have only 1/3 child who is reporting because they have fear, because there is no reporting mechanism, or because they don't want to report to police, or because of stigma and so on. So we have many information regarding child sexual exploitation online. I can give you some numbers if
Let's
you want.
talk about facts and figures, some data. If we look at numbers, I mean, I know all our kids are on the iPhone or on the internet. Even schools now give all the lessons on the internet and on the computer. So any numbers?
Yes, I will give you the numbers, the recent number we have. I took my paper to make sure that I am not doing mistake. More than 300 million children are victims of online sexual exploitation and abuse per year. And it's according to the University of Edinburgh 2024.
So this is the reported cases?
This is the reported cases. But what is important, what we are seeing, that many children are also uploading, self-images, self-generated images. And what we are seeing is a high increase in financial sexual sextortion. This is really important. And just to let you know, according to We Protect Alliance, the recent assessment, you have 7,200% increase in reports between 2021 and 2022. And if you add to that the generative AI that creates also virtual image, it's increasing. I just want to add two things. 15% of children worldwide are victims of cyberbullying. And regarding the exposure to hate, message, or violent images, you have a range from 8% to 58% of children who are victims of, exposure to hate. And the last one is exposure to content on self-harm and suicide. Up to 1/4 of children are facing online content related to physical self-harm. Just to let you know, these are numbers. It doesn't mean that the others, that these are reflecting the truth, because as I highlight, the difficulty is to report. The difficulty also is that, ICT sector are not providing data. The difficulty of cooperation between law enforcement and ICT sector. And if we add to that the AI, that currently make it more difficult because you have virtual image that are mixed with real image.
I want to come to the AI thing. I think the real problem relies in when there's a cyber incident. Where does it start? It starts with the parents probably limiting the amount of hours of their kids online, or maybe deleting content without reporting to the police. I mean, what's requested? What's needed on the first primary levels once an incident is happening?
I think what an incident is happening is too late for me. What is important, to be very frank,
To
is
prevent
also
it.
why we are not proactive, why we are not having this prevention, that it's really proactive. But when an incident happens, children need to report on it. And to report, it means that they know where they have to report. This is one. And it depends. The other thing is the role of ICT sector to have this really child safety by design and child privacy by design, and to monitor and really to delay, to remove, to make sure that they are following, and mainly with AI currently, and many platforms are already doing it, because regarding AI, it can scan millions and millions of images of posts very, very quickly, seeing if it's harmful content, is a kind of, hate speech, and they can remove it, they can block it, and many currently platforms are doing it. So they have really to react very quickly. And I think what it's important that you highlight, we have not to put the burden only on children and parents. Yes, we need parents also to be aware regarding, what are the risks, to educate, to develop the digital skills of parents, teachers, children themselves. They need to be empowered. But the role to protect children regarding all these crimes that are really happening online is first the role of ICT and the states.
But there's a disparity in the world, right? And sometimes our children are smarter, faster than us, right? I mean, you have some parents who come from certain parts of the world, probably uneducated, and their kids are way so advanced in the cyberspace. So this disparity, is it also among children in the cyberspace, and how do you bridge the gap?
I think currently we are telling that 1 in 3 users of internet are children, but we need also to bear in mind the digital gap. You have many, many children who have no access to digital learning, and we saw it during the pandemic. And I think it's important currently, and if you take into account all the commitments of states worldwide and the Global Digital Compact, is to assess, to ensure easy access to all children, inclusive access safe for all children to internet. So many disparities. You have no countries, even the wealthy countries, even when you have this access to internet, it depends. You have children who are living in poor areas. You have children who are living in poor families, children with family who are illiterated. So they have no access because it's not existing. They have access, but they have no access to safety because they have no people who is there really to empower them, to inform. And it doesn't mean, because you are illiterated that you cannot be aware of the risk. So we have many guidelines were produced, so we need also to be very, very creative to make sure that we are informing parents, we are informing teachers, we are informing all people who are working with children.
One of the most challenging things online and in cyberspace is detecting age. Is the technology able, how do you know I'm not a 30, 40, 50-year-old probably trafficker and not a 15 or a 10-year-old child? How can you use AI to detect this?
Many countries currently have, established laws regarding, age insurance and to control. But in the same time, what is important is to make sure that you are protecting also the privacy. So, for example, I have some countries have in the same time the control of age because you have to give, your birth date. and in the same time having this double anonymity to make sure that the privacy of child is really guaranteed. In other currently, there is also another issue because we discuss a lot, we are working with ICT sectors. They want to have this, they are pushing for having that, but in the same time, the difficulty is to control that it's true because you can also manipulate, but in the same time, you know, the entry point, and currently there are some ICT sectors who are pushing, you know, the entry point could be the devices when you buy the devices to make sure that you have the correct age.
I want to talk about the positivities also of the cyberspace, not only the challenges. I mean, we have kids learning coding, we have kids learning stuff online, they are way more advanced. My nephew is 10, he talks about coding and it's like Chinese to me, and like he knows stuff on the internet and in the cyberspace, but this doesn't eliminate the worrying part. But if I'm gonna talk about the positive parts, I mean, we're talking about new technologies, the Internet of Things, cloud-based and network-connected devices, wearables, household appliances, toys, and robots. Let's talk about the positivities of these things. How do they influence children positively?
I think its influence, as I told in the beginning, it's a strong opportunity for children, for learning, for being, you know, creative, for having access to information when it's safe and relevant. Also for connecting peers. And I just want to let you know that also what is important when you have children on board and they are empowered, they become also peer protector. It's amazing when you are seeing, we did a mapping of all, you know, the action led by children and young people for their peer, where they are teaching, you know, learning, providing support, even psychosocial support, making, you know, alerts. For example, you have some children and young people who use all this creativity and coding for establishing apps that allow very, very quickly to detect cyberbullying, to report. So it's an amazing, you know, space. But in the same time, this is really important. We need to have this balance between, you know, this protection and, you know, this creativity. This is very important to have it in mind.
One of the professors here told me, don't bring AI next to kids. But can it be used to protect kids? I mean, how can it be used positively also by kids?
AI, I think what is important, AI is not recent. AI is evolving very quickly. But I think what is important, as I told, you know, AI currently can be used, and you have more and more in ensuring protection of children, because they can scan images, posts, and at a really very, very quick and speed manner. So they can detect, they can remove, they can make sure that children have access to reporting mechanisms. They can map all the services, child protection services, psychosocial support, and connect children to them. They can educate, raise awareness. They can do a lot regarding, you know, if we use AI in this purpose.
Are the big tech companies cooperative? I mean, this is the big question about TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all of this.
Yes, I think...
Are they helping you, the educational system, the governments?
Yes, to be very frank, you have many multi-stakeholder platforms. Currently, we are working with Tech Coalition, with ICT, many other ICT sectors, working with UNICEF, ITU, but children themselves, Child Helpline. And because we need to have these multi-stakeholders and to speak how we can, in the same time, ensure access, ensure safety, and in the same time, empower children. And I will be very frank with you. They are doing a lot. Many are doing many, you know, using, you know, safe internet, using safety by design for some, using AI for educating people. But the problem is that regarding since the beginning, and it is why we are requiring and pushing for having child safety by design and child privacy by design, to make sure that all the products that are, you know, developed during their design, their implementation, and their monitoring really are in line with that. This is a big issue that for the moment, and I just want, if you allow me, many big tech companies are doing a lot, but we need to be very careful because you have small and middle-sized platform, and they have no access. So we need to make sure that this is really disseminated and also adapted, to the size and the context of this.
I'm going to speak to you now, not only as the UN Special Representative of the Secretary General when it comes to violence against children. I'm going to talk to you as a pediatrician. You have a long experience in that realm. There's a lot being said about mental health issues and the cyberspace and children. Where are the lines drawn? And, some parents, instead of solving the issue, they just take their kids off the internet, go play. No need to use the internet or the iPhone or any of this. So what's really real about the mental health and the effects of the cyber world on the mental health of kids?
I think we have two pieces. One, when they are exposed or victims of violence online, the impact of, on children, on their mental health and well-being is long-lasting. Depression, suicide, anxiety, behavioral disorder. This is happening when children are exposed or victims of, violence
So that's
online.
from the cyber world to the physical world.
This is one, physical, this is really important. And the other thing, never forget that, the images that enter in this wonderful space, and if you use also darknet, some images never disappear. So this is a big, big block that impact, children. And you have the addiction. When children are really playing and mainly gaming, because you have mainly gaming, are really addicting children, and this also has an impact on mental health because it's about isolation, it's about behavioral disorder, it's about eating disorder, it's about sleeping disorders, it's about, many things. So we need to have this balance regarding the parents. I am grandma, and I know, and I think what is important is how you can make sure that children, can use it, but in a proportional time, and to make sure that they know how to really protect themselves or to report, but also making sure that children and the parents and all the people who are the caregivers are aware about the risk. And empowering children and having them on board and listening to them and playing with them also when you are a parent to make sure that they are aware of the risk is really important.
My niece is 4.
It's too soon.
And she was using this TikTok on iPhone, and it's she was so fast, and I was so
it's
scared.
It's too soon.
And it reminded me of my childhood where we used to play in the gardens, and we used to play with the small balls, القلة in the Lebanese dialect. And I felt sorry for her, but then these are the bright minds of the future. This is the future. One final note from you as someone who has a say through the UN, but also as a pediatrician, what's the final take on all of this?
I think we need to have a kind of equilibrium. It doesn't mean because you have all these technologies that children have to use it as a tool each day, each time. We need to have a proportionate approach. But if you are 4 years, it's too soon for me to be on TikTok, sorry. And this is really important. But what is important in the same time is how you manage the time to play, time to socialize, time to do physical things, and time for the online. Online has not to become, the only way of education. And to be very frank with you, some parents, because they need to be quiet, they give, and I think we have also a responsibility regarding that. It doesn't mean because we are in, generation of technologies that we are going to use only technology. And we need to have this humanity within technology and this interactivity that it's very, very important for the development of children.
Dr. Najat, thank you so
You're
much
welcome.
for this interesting conversation, and thank you all for attending, and more panels are coming ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.